We're excited to announce the release of Sage Estimating Cloud version 3.8, which brings you enhanced navigation and spreadsheet layouts. This video explains the enhancements and new features. Based on feedback from our customers, we've added additional information to the header when you're focused on a matrix. In the upper right, you'll see the total for the specific matrix compared to the current estimate total. You can toggle this area to show the gross or net total. We've also added this pie chart, which shows the breakdown of each matrix. As you hover over the pie chart, you'll see the name and total for each group. You can select a slice of the pie to open a new tab showing the matrix you selected, with the corresponding pie piece showing in green. We've added the option to set up self-perform projects if you're working on a job that won't involve subcontractor bidding. This happens when you first create a project. Once the project is created, the first time you open it, you're asked whether you'll self-perform the project, in which case you can skip bidding, or whether you'll bid all or some of the project. Select Skip Bidding and Go if you'll self-perform the job and won't need to collect bids. Also notice that we have a new bidding page. We'll go to a project that already has costs so you can see how this works, and when you use this functionality, the project must be unpublished. You see each cost category listed, with icons that let you determine how you want each matrix to be set up. On the right, you'll see the explanations of each icon. For example, you might want to bid concrete. Select Bid and Breakout if you want to direct cost categories such as labor, material, equipment, and other, not just subcontract pricing. Select Bid Rolled Up if you want to show only subcontractor costs without breaking out the other cost types. And select Self-Perform if you want to self-perform a given scope. You can select these icons under the All Categories heading, or you can select different options for different categories. Until now, you've been able to view a project's estimate sheet, where you see individual items with costs broken down by cost type, or the summary sheet, where you see phase summaries, bid packages, bid markups, budgets, and other project information. If you needed to add or modify items, you'd do this in the estimate sheet, requiring you to jump back and forth between the estimate and the summary. Any changes made on the estimate sheet would be visible on the summary sheet. With this release, we've combined the estimate sheet and summary sheet into a single matrix. So, don't worry that the estimate view is missing. In the bid room navigation area, you'll see only the summary sheet, but it has all of the estimate information, including each item with cost breakdowns. From the new summary sheet, you can now add or modify items, change budget amounts, or make any other changes needed. We'll go over adding new items in a moment. You'll see all of the estimate columns that were formerly included in the estimate sheet. Then, as you scroll to the right, you'll see the bid columns, just as you've been accustomed to see them on the summary sheet. With all columns included in a single sheet, you can now create layouts that show only the columns you need to see, based on your area of focus at any given time. Layouts can be grouped and sorted however you need to work with them. We'll talk in detail about how to work with these layouts in a moment. The important thing to remember is that all items are now shown within the summary sheet, and for each item, you now have two sets of columns, estimate columns and bid columns. In this example, a layout has been created that shows the estimate columns, so you can easily work with it as you would have used the former estimate sheet. We've enhanced the Add Item window, so now you can enter the code and description, takeoff quantity and unit, and all of the work breakdown assignments. To add a new item to a specific location in the grid, go to the phase under which you want to add it. Hold your mouse over the green bubble under the line and select Insert Item. As you begin typing a description, the system searches all other published projects and gives you a list of items with similar names. This makes it easy to reuse items once you've used them on a project. Enter a takeoff quantity, takeoff unit, and any other information you have. The item will automatically be assigned to the grouping levels under which you add it. We've considerably enhanced the options for customizing your layouts for different scenarios. The navigation buttons on the right take you to the different formatting options. Select Layouts to see the available layouts, and then select Rows to change the grouping of items. In this example, the sheet is grouped by alternate, then by CSI division and bid package phase. We can change the third grouping to group phase by selecting it from the drop-down. To delete a grouping level, hold your mouse over the grouping, and then select the X to remove it. You'll also see an icon that lets you set the style for the grouping level. You can select the background color, text color, and style to differentiate group levels from one another. Select Columns to specify which columns appear in the layout. Select or clear the checkbox in the Visible column to show or hide columns. You can select the column name header to sort the list of fields alphabetically. Select the Visible columns header to group columns by their visible state. If you have columns that you always want to remain together, such as all equipment or all material fields, you can enable selection, multi-select the columns, and then select Group. Double-click the new group to give it a name. In the grid, you'll see the column headings with a group heading above them. Select Ungroup to return to the original sort sequence. Select Decimal to specify the number of decimal points to display for each column. You can manually adjust the widths of the columns. Select Width to see the widths as they are now. Drag a column's header bar to see that it changes. You can also type a number for the width. Symbol lets you indicate which fields should include the currency symbol. You can set the font color, style, and background color for each column, either by selecting Style on the right or by right-clicking the column header and selecting Style Columns. The Pins menu lets you keep certain columns visible on the left or right. Select either the left or right pin for a column to keep it visible, so you always see it as you scroll through the remaining fields. The Reset button has a drop-down, which lets you select whether to reset all columns back to all of their default settings or to change only the currently visible settings back to the default. For example, right now it changes only the pin settings. If we select Decimal, the button now changes only the decimal settings back to their defaults. When you've set up a layout that you want to return to later, select Layouts, and then Add Layout, and enter a name. You can add categories to the layout which appear as tags in the list of layouts, and you can select Add to Library to make the layout available to all of your estimators. Once you've added a layout, you'll see it as one of the tabs across the bottom of the grid. If you make additional changes that you want to save, from the Actions menu, select Replace. You can select the arrow next to a tab to delete, edit, or replace the layout. In this video, you learned about the enhanced navigation and spreadsheet layouts in Sage Estimating Cloud version 3.8.